Are you ready to bring in more business builders into your network marketing business, but you're not exactly sure the right way to go about recruiting? We're going to be talking about the different strategies and the different methodologies when it comes to recruiting and which one can be the best for you. And if you're just getting started in this network marketing business, don't fret, I've got you covered. If you've been in network marketing for a while, you definitely need to make sure that you are doing the do. It doesn't matter which way you decide to build your network marketing business. What matters is that you are actually making the contacts, you're making the connections, you're showing up in Messenger, you're showing up and you're having those conversations, right? So there's two different methodologies, there's two different ways of thought when it comes to building your network marketing, right? There is the way of cold messaging. And here's the thing with cold messaging. Cold messaging works 100%. Like I said, each method works as long as you're working your business. With cold messaging, you are sending out, whether you're building on social media, you're building face-to-face, you're sending out phone calls. I personally build my entire business on social media. And so what cold messaging would look like is reaching out to people that you do not know, that might be friends of friends that you can connect with, and asking them if they're open to taking a look at what you're doing, and if not, no big deal. Now, here is the beauty to cold messaging, right? Cold messaging means that you can have a ton of conversations in a very short amount of time because you're sending out messages and you're not building that relationship. Cold messaging is fantastic for those people that are maybe a little bit more reserved and not as social, maybe a little bit more introverted, maybe a little bit more hesitant to reach out to their warm audience. And so what cold messaging can do is it can help you build your business very, very fast, but you have to know that you're sending out a ton of messages at one time. Now, the way that I build my business is a little bit different. I've got my YouTube Academy. I'm going to link my free masterclass on how I've personally built my business on YouTube. It's very different than the traditional cold messaging and warm messaging that we're going to talk about over here. But for me, it works. I bring in 5 to 7 business builders every single month because of my YouTube channel. So in the description, I've got my free masterclass for you that's going to help you with your recruiting as well in a very different manner, right? So with the cold messaging, it is absolutely imperative that you reach out to a ton of people because you are going to get denied, ghosted, people telling you that they're not interested all of the time. And it's important that you have up your armor, that you've got up your guard to block that. If that type of thing really bothers you and hurts you at your core, cold messaging probably won't be the right fit for you because you've got to have your armor up. You're going to get people that say this is a pyramid scheme, this is scammy, and you might get blocked on social media. You might get, ghosted, so to speak. And so know that when you are doing cold messaging, it is about reaching a ton of people and sending a lot of messages. And here's a bonus tip for you. When you're sending these messages, make sure that you're spacing them out if you're doing it on social media so that you don't end up in social media jail like Facebook jail or Instagram, right? So cold messaging is fantastic because it does allow you to send a ton of messages and you're going to get people that say yes, they're interested, and you are going to get people to join your business, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to link for you right over here in this video how I've recruited hundreds of people so that you can use the same systems that I've used to be able to close the deals super easily. I'm going to link that right over here so that you know exactly what to do when somebody says, yes, I am interested in joining the business, whether it's from cold messaging or warm messaging. And what I want to discuss now is warm market messaging. Warm market messaging means that you are reaching out, you're building those relationships with people, right? So it's somebody that you've maybe already established a little bit of that like, know, and trust factor with, and then you can pop the question. Now, to me, this is the way that feels the most comfortable for me, and using my YouTube my YouTube strategies. These are the two ways that I've recruited hundreds of people. Now, why does warm market messaging work for me? Because for me, I'm an extrovert. I can have conversations with people all the time, and I don't mind talking to strangers. So I can very easily make strangers into friends in a very short amount of time. So for me, warm market messaging absolutely works really well because I don't feel like I'm spamming people. I feel like I get to build that like, know, and trust factor, and I don't mind popping the question, so to speak, when somebody asks me, what I do for a living, and or for me to say, hey, would it be okay if I asked if you're open to taking a look at what I'm doing? And if not, no big deal. I have no problems doing that with somebody that I'm connected with, right? And so for me, warm messaging works. Now, the downfall of warm messaging is that it kind of takes time to build up that warm audience, right? So I might not be popping 10, 15, 20 questions a day because I'm having those conversations. I'm building that like, know, and trust factor. But what ends up happening is my conversion rate, my closing rate, so to speak, where I bring in more business builders is definitely higher than if I was just sending cold messages, right? So if you're sending cold messages, it's about the volume. When you're working and you're building that like, know, and trust factor, it's not necessarily about the volume. It's about the quality of the conversation that you're having with somebody if they're open to taking a look at your business. Now, again, the way that I personally build is through warm messaging, and then I use YouTube. And I'm going to put for you in the description of this video my YouTube masterclass that teaches you how I've been able to build my business using YouTube and building what we call that lead factor, right? Where somebody watches my videos on YouTube and then I establish the trust. They tell me that they're open, they're interested. I get connected with them. I find out their goals, their reasons for looking at my opportunity, and then I can very easily close them because it's called intent marketing and people are actually reaching out to me. So the two ways that I've been able to build hundreds of people onto my team is because I use YouTube to draw people to me, but I'm also building a very nice, long, warm audience that helps me as well because I ask very often with people that I'm connected with and that I'm having conversations with in Messenger if they're open to taking a look at my business, if it doesn't interfere with what they're already doing, and if not, no big deal, right? That is the exact verbiage that I use that has helped me significantly. And so the bottom line is it doesn't matter if you are building a warm audience or if you are building a cold audience and asking cold messaging. What matters is that you're actually asking the question. Far too often when I dive into people's business to figure out where they're feeling stuck, why they're not having success with, prospecting or building, a team, what I find is that they're just not asking enough people. And so what you have to realize is that most people are not going to be coming to you all the time and saying, oh, can you tell me more about what you do, right? It's a bonus when it happens, but you definitely need to be a little bit more vocal. You need to be able to pop the question, ask people if they're open, and build that confidence muscle, so to speak, so that you can help ask them if they're open to taking a look at your opportunity. And there is no right way, there is no wrong way. The only way that doesn't work is when you absolutely do not ask the question whatsoever. You have no chance of building a team. So again, if you want to learn how I've used YouTube, I'm going to put in the description of this video my free masterclass on how I've used YouTube to grow my network marketing business and bring in 5 to 7 business builders, because I draw them to me and then I bring them into my warm market, so to speak. And so I build that like, know, and trust factor through video, through my shorts, through my reels. People find me, but I make sure 100% that I ask them if they're open to taking a look at my opportunity. And again, I am going to link for you the video that you can watch now that talks about how I've recruited people, so that when you do find people that are open to taking a look, you know my exact formula on how I am able to, close them, bring them into my business builders, and how I've set them up for success. And this is another episode of Julie Reynolds TV. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss out.